the Spurs corner. Oh, Tottenham Hotspur. North London is ours.
All right, good afternoon or evening, wherever you guys are. This is a special episode of, I would call it EPL Corner, coming to you. It's morning here in Costa Rica, and it's probably deeply in the afternoon in Bulgaria.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah, right.
it's
Bulgaria.
a nice day here. It's a nice
It's a,
afternoon day.
it's a nice day. You can see the pool in the background.
Mari, don't man. Here it's like cold and chilly. Don't make me jealous.
Uh, and as you know about our channel, it's been an interesting journey, but we're glad to be back in time for North London special and PSG game. Probably the back to back, probably the hardest part of our season um, so far coming up. And so I'm going to get right to it in regards to this show. It is being pre recorded just due to timing. We had a live show, but if some of you noticed, channel got missing, but we're back. And so we had to do a pre-recorded show. And so we're gonna start with the first topic this season so far. We're gonna start with the Tottenham side. I'm gonna give my points, and then Stefan's gonna give his view on Tottenham. I will start off. If you heard me the first two shows of the Spurs corner, I think coming in, I had no expectations. I said this one of the last couple shows before even Ange got sacked. Coming into this season, I didn't like our chances, in the domestic cups. Um, thought our season would not be 17th. And then the Champions League. So, of course, Ange got fired. Frank came in, um, saw the first couple of games, either a preseason game. We won preseason, but, still the banter is there against Arsenal. PSG would put up a fight. Got Spursy in that game, lost the lead, lost that Super Cup. And so, a couple things I saw that, okay, we're going to have structure. The defense is going to be better. We've been fluctuating from second to third to fourth best defense. We're playing the best defense in the Premier League. Jekyll and Hyde on the road, we seem to be a bit more brave, whereas at home, we are not. So it's it's a little deceptive about the road, but in totality, we're better on the road than home. Um, all depending on if we're having possession, uh, very wasteful, non-productive, non-creative. Uh, I feel that we are a better team where we're on the counter, especially for Brendan Johnson, who is absolutely shit if he's not tapping things in. He does nothing. Absolutely, he is the worst tap. He no, not worst tapper. He's the worst GA player because he gets the G.
I don't know, Mari. Did did,
It's confusing, but but
did you did you
in
see his goal for Wales?
yeah, oh yeah. It's you can't explain it. You really can't explain it. But I'm going to get to the keys of the game in regards of what would best surprise Arsenal, if there is to be a surprise, what Frank needs to do. And so there's been some results I kind of expected, but there's no expectations. My prediction was Spurs finishing best seventh, eighth, um, even with the signings, because I know it's going to take some time, but still try to figure out what Frank Ball is. Um, he is versatile to change, going back to the days of Brentford, but now what type of team he is building with Tottenham. And so, yeah, so we are where we supposed to be. There have been some good moments, Man City, but that's every coach at Tottenham, every manager, regards to Man City. And then there was the worst, I think one of the worst performances in the last 5, 6 years against Chelsea, because of the very fact we were at home. It is a rival, and we were lifeless, completely dead. Like you
Yeah,
could have placed 11 zombies and would have got a
that was,
pulse.
yeah, that was horrific.
I mean,
Yeah.
there were some bad losses from Ange, but at least the suicide football, you saw a pulse. That Chelsea game was absolutely no pulse. I mean, you could name every bad Europa League loss we had, Papas Pharaohs, all, but that Chelsea game was bad. So um my outlook for the team um is just that, it's really hard to tell. The team is boring. The league is boring. I think Spurs are even more boring. Uh, we do make fun of Arsenal being set piece FC, but that's how we're scoring goals through set piece. So it's kind of the pot called the kettle black. So that's my view with Tottenham so far. I'm not Frank out. I have to give him a year. It would be ridiculous to be Frank out. I have to give him a year. I have to give him a couple more transfers. So second year is where I put the verdict on Frank. But as of now, I'm just watching. I'm processing about this team. So this team for me so far has been meh. MEH. If you guys know what meh means, yeah. Your views on Tottenham so far?
I in terms of, I honestly think that you've been, and I know people might say it's probably biased, but I think you've been extremely fortunate. I've seen some of your away performances per se, where everybody raves about the fact. I don't think you were, the Man City game, although you won, I thought you were very fortunate in the first half for Man City to not score at least one goal. They missed. I remember Haaland missed a complete sitter. Marmoush missed one-on-one, so they had some big chances in the first half that if it had if it had gone another way, the game could have, the game state would have changed. I look at some of your away performances in the Champions League against good teams. Monaco, I have no idea how you got a draw there. Monaco should have won 3 or 4-0 in that. Vicario had like his best performance in a Spurs shirt probably. Bodo Glimt was similar. Bodo Glimt missed so many chances, especially in the first half. So you got 2 draws out of those. Even the Leeds game, if you look at the metrics of your performances, and people, I see Spurs fans saying your defense isn't much better. You still concede far too many chances. I mean, Chelsea, just look at, for example, the games where where you lost, right? Like Bournemouth at home, for example, you lost 1-0, but that game you should have lost, let's be honest, 4-0. They missed so many. Chelsea, Chelsea won 1-0. How many saves did Vicario? That game, Chelsea should have scored at least 2-3 goals. So I think the defensive record is a bit
the 0.0.
Yeah. Oh, forget it. Yeah, forget the attack. But everybody is saying he's right. Are you a little bit more, better structured? Yeah. But I think the fact that you have Paulina, you have a real number 6 that actually is defensively very, very good. Something that you did not have last season greatly helps with that. The issue for me comes where I just know that if Arsenal score the first goal, the game is over. Like, I'm not worried whatsoever in terms of Arsenal's defending, in terms of your attack. Your attack, from what I read, is probably going to be Richarlison, Kudus, and I'm guessing Odegaard. Even without Gabriel, we have Mosquera, we have Hincapi, who's been really good also in the games he's played. So I'm really not concerned about that. I just think I just think Spurs are, and to further my point, because stats are important, people like to deny them, but the Athletic did a did an article from their main stats guy about who are the Premier League's biggest underachievers, overachievers based on the performance metrics. Spurs were by far the biggest overachievers in terms of just their performance metrics, their XG, the amount of chances they give up, chances they create. You guys have scored, from what I read, 5 or 6 more goals than you were expected to from the chances and the quality chance that you have created. And so I just think that this eventually, like with Ange 2 years ago, when the first 10 games were, as I remember, when I used to, me and you, we used to kind of tell the Spurs fans, you're not that good. Like, we've been a bit fortunate with the results. We're not playing that well. This will eventually catch up to you. I think that will soon happen, because eventually stats do kind of coincide in the middle. You can't just keep overachieving and going against the actual state of play. And so you haven't lost away from home this year, and now you're coming to your worst ground in 20 years. I read some shocking stats for Spurs. You haven't won in the league at the Emirates Stadium in 15 years, which is your driest period of any stadium currently. You've won at Anfield more recently than you have at Emirates in the league. In the last 50, since you've won that game in
the FA Cup we won at Arsenal.
Yeah. I'm talking about league-wise. You've won in 20 years at the Emirates Stadium. You've won since it was built. You've won twice. Once in the league and once in the FA Cup. I think it was 2019, 2020, I think. So, Arsenal's, you've lost the most. You've lost more at the Emirates Stadium than you have at Stamford Bridge, which was shocking to me, because we all know that you guys just don't turn up for Chelsea ever, whether it's at home or away.
All the Premier League team, our record against the worst.
That's what I mean. Your record at the Emirates Stadium in terms of losses is more, and your loss percentage is worse at the Emirates Stadium than it is at Chelsea. At Chelsea, you have quite a few draws. Yeah. At the Emirates, you have more losses. So I just think you have one win. Or the only difference is, in the 20 years since Emirates was built, you have one win at Stamford Bridge and 2 wins overall at the Emirates in all comp. That's the only, you have more wins at the Emirates compared to Stamford Bridge, but more losses. So it's a terrible ground for you. You're coming up against the best Arsenal side in the Emirates era by far. It's not even close. And you're probably, I would say, I'm trying to think, has there been a worse side? 2-0 Chelsea. Has there been a worse side, Spurs side? Maybe the Tim Sherwood one, but I mean, that Tim Sherwood one had some good players.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe one of the worst, if not the worst, Spurs side that's coming to the Emirates. Arsenal have to win. For me, it's not the pressure is all on us to win, because
we're gonna get to that.
Yeah. But that's my assessment of Spurs. Not very impressed. I just want to ask you, just before we continue, because I remember watching with Conte and with Mourinho about how Spurs play a certain way. It's not our DNA, stuff like this. I'm sorry, Frank has been worse than Conte, Mourinho, or Nuno. Like, he's been more. He plays defensive at home, which, if you ask my honest opinion, that has a shelf life. Because the moment you guys stop getting results, which, if you look at the performance metrics and stats, that will stop eventually. If you continue to put in these performances, the fans will get fed up, and the fans. This isn't Ange where you're being ambitious.
This is terrorist football. The only hypocrisy I see is that with, like Conte, I said on the last Spurs Corner, people were Conte out, wasn't patient enough. Yes, there were times that Conte wanted to leave, but it got so toxic there. Who would want to stay after losing one of your best mates? And there were actually, there was 2 deaths he went through. There were just so many things that went through, and people were saying, being patient with that type of football. And now, where's that same energy in regards to Frank? And like I said, I'm not Frank out, but in regards to criticism, our fan base, Spurs, have a serious problem with criticism. I get it. There are those who over criticize. I get it. In Arsenal, you have some, we argue about some content creators who over criticize, but then there are those who under criticize. And I'm just asking for a fair balance of criticism. You know, this football is it's dreadful. I'm bored most of the time. I really am. And
No.
we put out a result, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just watching the game and I'm bored. I get that. We had that with with Conte whatsoever, but at least he has a proven record of winning, especially in the short term. You
But
know,
Mari, the excuse which I now hear from the because basically the anti-Angers have now become the Frank sexuals. It's like because they're anti-Ange, they're gonna defend Thomas Frank to the hill, and their excuse is the players are shit. Well, I'm sorry. You can do better against Chelsea. Burnley played better. I know they're losing 2-0 now, but Burnley had more chances, played better with the ball than Spurs did in that game. And if fans think that it's okay to just set up pragmatically and then after the game say, "Oh well, this is the thing. I love Thomas Frank. I always told you that I was gutted that you appointed him. He was one of my favorite coaches, if not for me, the best pound for pound coach in the league based on what he did at Brentford. However, this isn't Brentford. And if he starts to apply that mindset where you're kind of in this community club vibe where everybody's a family and no matter if we win or lose, this is a big, Spurs have far more expectations than Brentford. And sometimes I get the feel that he thinks it's kind of like Brentford where he's going to be given the same amount of unlimited time and just play a pragmatic way and people are going to accept this. Eventually they won't. Once the results turn, Spurs fans will not accept this continuously, especially the older Spurs fans who always harp on about the Spurs DNA and how you guys always used to play attacking football and stuff like this. So for me, the key is to see whether Thomas Frank can integrate himself, the culture that he brought in from Brentford, but to do it in a club that has far more expectations in terms of playing style and in terms of just league perform and scrutiny, most important. Because if Brentford lose 3-0 away to Burnley, nobody's going to give a shit. If Spurs do, it's going to be the number one topic on the radio and on TV. So that's the difference for me.
I think this is a screenshot of the current lead. Season so far. We are fifth. Don't ask me how we're there, but I have my views on the EPL. But we will talk about that on another show. The actual EPL corner. So let's get to the next topic. Both teams have injuries. I'm just going to go based on the latest. And I looked at London.com. I also looked at the Express. It's mixed news in regards to Tottenham and Arsenal. From the Tottenham side, I've heard, Miani is going to come back, but maybe wear a mask.
That's bullshit. No chance he's going to come back.
And then a couple of players, Bergvall. I thought Bergvall was longer, but it appears like he's going to come back.
Sar is okay. From what I read, Sar is fine.
Okay. And then on the Arsenal side, I thought I'm getting really mixed about Calafari. We know Gabriel is probably 2 months.
Gabriel is definitely out, but Mari, I've warned you about this.
I'm hearing
Arteta is like a hockey coach. He lies on purpose. He has lied numerous times on purpose about injuries, rarely gives information about injuries, sometimes even misleads about injuries, like he has now. All the Italian sources say Calafiori.
It's a good thing he's not in the NFL.
Yeah, in the NFL, because of fantasy and stuff like this, you have to announce. But in the NHL, you don't. And coaches in the NHL purposely don't disclose what type of injury the guy has, if he's gonna be fit, stuff like that. And Arteta does the same thing. Calafiori, all the Italian sources said he's completely fine, including Fabrizio Romano, who said he's available. If you go to the press conference, Arteta doesn't deny anything, just says he hasn't trained, which doesn't mean anything. Which doesn't mean he could be rested, he could be whatever. The second thing is the others, when they asked him, what about the others? Madueke, Gyökeres, Martinelli. He just says, yeah, they're really close, but I'm not going to tell you who are really close. From the sources that we, like in terms of, for the Arsenal ones that I trust, Odegaard is going to be there. Martinelli supposedly is going to be. Odegaard is going to be on the bench at least. No, I don't think he will start. I wouldn't be surprised if he does because of how much he rates Odegaard. But Odegaard is going to be fit. Martinelli is going to be fit. Madueke too is going to be fit supposedly. Gyökeres is a doubt, but I'm reading now in the Twitter sphere, usually the rumors most of the time are true. I'm reading Gyökeres is also fit. So we're going to have quite a few players coming back. And I think the only two players that won't be back will be Jesus, who's on the brink now. He's been training for 2 weeks, so he should be back very soon. But because the injuries, was substantial, they need more time to build up his fitness. Jesus, Havertz, and Gabriel. Gabriel definitely won't be back. So don't trust Tom. I don't know. And this Moani stuff, if people think that you can come back from a fractured jaw in 2 weeks and play, good luck, because a bone, one elbow to his jaw and he's screwed. One elbow, if it's not fully healed, even with a mask, one elbow, one kick, whatever, falling on his face, it's extremely dangerous to re-injure after 2 weeks, especially. I think they purposely did that at Spurs just to confuse a little bit in terms of trying mislead Arsenal and stuff tactically. Kudus, I'm sure, is fit. He's been training for 2 weeks. Yeah. He's had 2 weeks off. So I think Spurs are okay. But yeah, the Arsenal injuries, again, until the day of until 1 hour before the game when the team is announced, don't believe anything, especially what Arteta says. They could all not be fit. Most of them could be fit. Half of them could be fit. Nobody knows and they purposely leak stuff so they can try. Like Madueke, for example, against Sunderland, it was leaked everywhere that he was going to be back. He wasn't.
Okay. So, in the process, I did forget to do Arsenal their season so far.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean from
I'll go quickly. So I know we talked in the chat because no one knows, because we have it streamed as a channel. My predictions. I will. I'm saying this. Stefan was right. A dead clock is right twice a day. Keep throwing slime at the wall. Eventually, it's gonna stick. He was right about Liverpool, which, when you look at it, yes, someone.
No, don't do that shit, Mahri. You told me I was deluded.
Let me land.
You told me I was a hater. That Liverpool are so good.
I'm giving credit, but I'm also going to put asterisks in the sense of there are people who they get to the point where they fall off a cliff at their time of their career. And right now, the question is, is it slop, or is it really Salah really going over the?
Mahri, I told you last season. You didn't want to listen.
But let me
go on.
So Liverpool has regressed. The only team I think has really improved is definitely Man City. The EPL, depending on who, a lot of people are just like, this season. But that's tough for the show. But going back to Arsenal, Um, because of that, Arsenal's depth, I think, is, and it's tough for me to say this, but I have to be honest. Um, this year, they have absolutely no excuses. Like Arteta must win the league. I'm not talking about the domestic cups, though. Some of their fan base that won a trophy, like just any trophy, which is good. It breeds confidence and success.
Yeah.
Champions League, they're up there with the like five teams that legitimately think has a chance of winning the Champions League. But in the Premier League, now I'm like, it is theirs for the taking. Um, Now I don't think they're running on all cylinders, in my opinion, and I know some in the Arsenal fan base opinion in regards to the offense, open play. But then you have those who, like Stefan, who believe that the open play will improve as season progress, which could be the case. But as of now, set pieces, they're just dangerous. Of all of Europe, of all the world, out there, not a team that you just are like, oh shit, it's a set piece. You got to be offensively and defensively. Um, but open play, you want to see more of, and like I said, it's a long season. We'll see if they improve more in open play.
Why?
See,
Wait. Why do you want to see more? Arsenal rarely go behind, and when they did against Newcastle, they were great in open play. When they did against Sunderland, they should have won that game against Sunderland in the second half. They completely dominated Sunderland. Like this notion that Arsenal don't play well in open play. If you look at the performance metrics, Arsenal in the league in open play are third, behind Man City and Liverpool. The only difference between Arsenal and those teams is that Man City and Liverpool have gone behind far more than Arsenal. So naturally, when you go behind, you attack far more. So your open play metrics are far more, in terms of you try and score.
I'm just talking in regards to, there are some, maybe you, I know, this other guy, I think his name is Ben. He's actually almost like the Ben of, no, Dan. He's almost like the Ben Bauman of Spurs. This guy named Dan. This is the perfect team of all of Europe. So I'm looking at some of the flaws, and there are those who say, okay, open play can be better, which it can.
But of course, we're missing our most creative player. We're missing Odegaard. We were missing Saka for the first 3-4 weeks.
It's missing. And then there's some things too about because we're still season so far. Saka needs to rev his engines. I was surprised. I was dumbfounded. I know he missed some time, but this season, he's had 4 goals, but 2 of them were penalties, but 0 assists. And I was like, nah, that's a lot.
Last season, if you look at his metrics, he was the most creative player in the league.
I mean, actually, has he fully been back to soccer?
No, not yet.
Pre-injury, yeah. I was gonna ask you an honest question because he's still quality, but he hasn't been like pre-injury. Did they rush him too soon? Like
no, he came back because he had the operation. He had a little niggle at the start of the season. He started playing, he was playing well, then he got the hamstring injury, and then came back after 3 weeks and is now looking against Sunderland. He was good. He was very good against Sunderland. So I think he just needs another few more games to kind of get into the groove. But as I said, I don't want them to peak now. I prefer Saka to peak in March, April, when it's the most important time period. However, I agree with you on pretty much everything you said. Like we have the best squad this year, undoubtedly, compared to the previous seasons. We've never had the best squad. When we were challenging before, Man City always had a better squad than us. And like I want to tap myself on the shoulder, like I told you last season about Liverpool. This was the luckiest season of all time. They had literally everything possible that could fall for them fell. And I told you this last season.
The only
You
thing
told me they were so good,
it's
and I told you they're not very good. His whole concept was basically Mohamed Salah had the greatest Premier League season of all time, beating a record by Henry that a lot of people thought it wasn't possible to have 20 assists and 20 goals, more than 20 assists and 20 goals in a season, which he beat with 6 or 7 games to spare. And they were the same team last season. They were not very good defensively. Their midfield was being run through. But when it was 1-0 to Liverpool and they were a little bit under the cosh, I can name you even games that I remember where the other team was getting better and better, creating some chances. They had one counterattack, one chance for Salah, 2-0, and he would kill off the whole steam from the other team and change the dynamic. This season, like I told you last year, that they're a one-man team. He's been terrible. And what have you seen? They either barely win games or they don't most of the time.
But I also think
just to further underline my whole theory as to why they're so reliant on him. Since he signed his new deal, his terrible form, if you look at the stats, his terrible form started immediately after he signed his new deal. If you look at his stats, his form dropped significantly in March, right after that PSG, the PSG game. Do you know that since the PSG game, do you know that Liverpool have lost 42% of their games?
yeah, they've been one of the worst this season.
So, Mahri, do you not see a little bit the correlation? His form drops and they go to shit.
Well, like I said, slot and where he is, his lineup and how he's positioning, he's putting, McAllister
he was right. He was right last year. He said, you know what, Mohamed Salah? Be clinical, be your best ever. Don't track back, don't press so you can save energy, so you can be clinical in the box. And it worked. The problem is that if Salah isn't, and I told you this last year, I told you for them to beat Arsenal again in Man City, they need Arsenal and Man City to have the same injuries. So they need Haaland to be injured for the whole year like they did with Rodri last year. And they need Arsenal to lose pretty much all of their best players for 2 to 3. Saka missed half of the season. Havertz missed half of the season. And Gabriel missed the last 2.5 to 3 months of the season. So that's not going to happen again. That just won't. And for them to rotate less than Man City and Arsenal in that time period, with 2 34-year-olds and Mohamed Salah and Van Dijk to have the most minutes. I told you this was not going to happen again. And you can see it now. Slot, for me, is going to be sacked by next year. That's my other one. I think he's a complete fraud. I think he's a complete fraud. Yeah. In my opinion, next year, midway through the season, I think he's going to be sacked. Because next year, Mark, if you think they're bad now, they are monumentally screwed next year. Because next year what happens is, because as we can see now, Father Time has hit Mohamed Salah. You can tell he's not the same player. He doesn't have the same speed. He's not as quick as he once used to be. He's not as clinical. Okay, maybe let's give him another 2-3 months to see if he comes back. But Father Time, Father Time. It's sudden and brutal. It's sudden. You can't stop it. Van Dijk, yeah, exactly. Van Dijk, I can see little snippets of his decline where he's a little bit lazy, a little bit labored. You can see it.
Played, it was not good against.
Against Chelsea, he was horrendous. Against Chelsea, against Brentford. So you can see, but he's still effective. He's still a top defender.
Yeah, when he has
next year, this is the potential to what can happen to them. Before we go on to Arsenal, next year Robertson is leaving on a free deal. I severely doubt he's declined. I severely doubt they're going to give him the left back. Kirkis has been horrendous. Nobody is talking about Kirkis. He has been horrendous as a signing. Maybe he might turn, but he has been terrible. He's been subbed off 3 times after halftime. Yeah. 3. That's how bad he's been. Let's
go back to Arsenal because.
Yeah. Sorry. So no, but I just want to underline next year. So they potentially lose Kanate for free. So you're going to be left with an 18-year-old center back that has just finished off, that is just recovering from an ACL, Joe Gomez, who's shit, and a 35-year-old with 1 year left on his deal. Those are going to be your 3 center backs next season. along with one left back in Kirkett, they're completely screwed, Mari. And that's forgetting the other elephant in the room. Your favorite, mate drinker, McAllister, looks like Fabinho in his last season, where he looks like he's completely lost, like his legs, and he's gone.
Maybe the desire.
No, I don't know about the desire, but I read that he had a severe injury.
I don't think human works playing on this at the same time on the pitch works. It doesn't work, and I hear some of the Liverpool,
and that's Mari. Just to finish off, because everybody called me a hater, so now I'm kind of like, let's not forget the signings, huh? Mari, Florian Wirtz, or as I call him, Florian Schartz. What for 116 million?
Yeah, you got.
I'm sorry, Mari, because I remember when Declan Rice moved to Arsenal, huh? And I remember the scrutiny he faced and how good he was in his first season, that people were saying that he was a bargain for 100 million and stuff like that. And look how he's upped his game. Every year he's scoring more goals. In my opinion, he's the best midfielder this year in the Prem. I'm not having Caicedo or any of it. There's nobody. He scores more goals than Caicedo, assists more goals than him, and nobody is better than Rice defensively. Nobody.
Okay.
So
I gotta lean it towards Caicedo.
No chance. No chance.
Definitely. And I'm coming fresh from. I know we ain't got no creativity, but
Mari, who scores more goals than Caicedo, has more assists than him.
You can call the cops because it was a crime, but I mean, literally, he kicked our ass.
Yeah, but your midfield is shit, Mari. Every time Rice plays against Chelsea, every time Rice has played against Caicedo, he has dominated him every single time. Go have a watch the game.
I know. Offensively, that's
shit's on Caicedo. What are you talking?
I mean, he's N'Golo Kante. He's literally N'Golo Kante, especially this season.
Yes, but he's N'Golo. But Rice, if you look at the defensive metrics, Rice is better than Caicedo. Nobody wins more tackles. Nobody is better at intercepting. And ever since Rice has joined, people forget this.
Now, I will say this, and this is where it's a luxury, because I'm gonna be fair to Gabriel, right? Why is Gabriel so shit for Brazil?
He's not, though. You keep saying this, but he's not shit for Brazil.
I mean, well, he didn't play against Tanzania. No, he didn't play.
He got injured.
I watched the game against Japan, Bolivia. Now, gotta let me land. You are who surrounds you. And I think clearly as night and day, Rice at West Ham and what he was, not saying he was good, but what he surrounded at Arsenal, the structure.
Okay. To your argument. To your argument. Wait.
It's night and day.
Like, wait, Mari, wait. You're saying.
Let me finish.
Yeah, okay.
What he has, look around him. Oh, Zubamendi. Before that, Partey. You look at what he has in front of Eze. Look what he has behind.
Mari, okay. Mari, I get your point. But
you have a filet mignon. You're not surrounded with, dog meat. You're surrounded by filet mignon.
Yeah, but Mari, but here's the point. You named Gabriel Saliba. Gabriel, for me, I agree. The best defender in the Prem, in my opinion. Okay. But here's the thing. But wait, Mari, here's the thing. The season, our first season when we challenged, when we didn't have Rice, we didn't have.
You know who has been your best player?
Timber.
No, I'm not going to say Timber. MVP, because I thought it may be your weak spot. You know who has been your from beginning of the season to this point?
Maybe either for me the two most consistent players.
And that's why I thought he was injured, because to the keys of the game, I'm like, and we're gonna get to that. But for me, Calafari.
No, he's been. I told you this, guys. When I was reading,
he's been a good candidate. I'm not saying
he's a brilliant. I told you this last season. He was injured all the time last year, but every time he played, you could see the quality. This guy. Then I read about Spurs fans saying he's a flop, and how is he? Every time he played last year, he was great. He was exactly what he was now.
As much as we bash Verts, you gotta. This is where I agree with the Savas of the world. Like you
He
kind of
scored. What do you mean? In his second game of the season, we went away to Man City and he scored. He's done more than Verts in his first 2 weeks at Arsenal. Verts has 15 games, Mari, and he hasn't scored a goal.
I get it, and it could be a season where the last 15 games it finally kicks in. And
I'm telling you right now, Verts, from what I have seen, will never be a top player in the Prem. Like he might be a great player, that a very creative player, which he has. He's very technical. He's too small, Mari. He gets swallowed up, man. And when I wrote this in the comments in the Tottenham group, I said, guys, why are you like harping up about Frimpong? He's a wing back. He's not a right back. He's tiny. This is the Premier League. This isn't the Bundesliga where nobody defends. And he's been Frimpong. I know he's been injured, but in the games he's played, just like Kirkes, he's been subbed off consistently because he's been poor. And if you watched him against one of the best wingers now who's in demand, Semenyo absolutely cooked him in the first game. He destroyed him in that game. And why? Because he's tiny. Whilst look at Arteta signings. Everybody laughed at the Mikel Merino signing last season. Who's laughing now? Mikel Merino, in my opinion, for value of money, we signed him for 30 million quid. Is there ever a better value for money in the last 2 years than Mikel Merino, who can play DM at striker?
He's been your best striker.
Yeah, striker. He scores goals all the time. He's physically great. He wins tackles. He's good on the ball. He's technical. Like, I look at the signings and even Hincapié, man. Hincapié for me is going to be our next. I think he's going to dislodge.
There was two people I wanted, and I watch a lot of South American players, South American ball. When our fan base said, "Oh, okay, yeah, we don't have to have Hincapié," I was like, "Oh," it was him and Richard Rios. Who I'm like, oh, he would be perfect.
Yeah, Rios. Yeah, he's at Benfica now, right? He moved to Benfica.
Great passer, like he would be
physical.
He would be our Declan Rice, and it was rumored, but we didn't. We're Rumor FC.
No, it's just and last season, and I remember at the start of the season, you told me, Stefan, what do you think about it? And I'm like, we have the best squad, Mari. It's nowhere near we don't have a weakness in our squad. And once we get back all the injured players, this is the thing that people don't realize.
I would say
Arsenal are first.
I would say
Arsenal are first with all these injuries. When Odegaard comes back, we're gonna get better, especially from open play.
Two people, because I would say Gyökeres hasn't done what he's supposed to.
He's been fine. He's been very good. This is the other notion that I read from people, that Gyökeres hasn't been good.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
On the left, which I think you could do better, but it's working out so far in the sense that Trossard,
he's great.
Is playing better, and then Martinelli not starting, coming from the bench.
He's been also very good this season, Martinelli.
So those were the two big questions.
But you asked me. You asked me. No, but remember,
So far, they're doing their job so far. Now,
you asked me at the start of the season, because you started like, Stefan, stop being so cocky. I'm like, Mahri, we don't have a weak spot. I'm like, before we had Saliba and Odegaard were kind of key players.
It's working out. It's working out.
No, but look, Saliba now. No, but look at this.
Going to preseason, you cannot lie that everybody, even Arsenal fans, were like,
no, not me, Mahri. No, I told you.
You guys are rumored for Semenyo. You guys are rumored for.
Okay. No, I said the only position, and I'm fine with Trossard and Martinelli. I said, but the only position that we could upgrade based on the options that are available on the market was left wing. And I told you this. But I'm like, if we stay with Martinelli and Trossard, it's not the end of the world. For me, I told you what was key.
It's the big games. This is where it's trust, which is the big question mark from the players and to the manager. Like some of the games, and like I said, it's working because you guys are on top right now. But some of the games that you guys did drop points, not the Sunderland game. That was different, where people question Arteta being brave with the club. Some players not showing up.
Again. Okay. I agree with you. But again, this is what annoys me by the narrative. Do you know how many times Klopp won at Man City?
I don't think he ever won at Man City. Maybe once.
He did, but it was the only season when Pep. It was his first season when it was his first season when Pep wasn't there. So he joined a year before. That was the only time when Klopp won at the Etihad.
The year that no
2015. No, 2015. Arne Slot won for the first time as the Liverpool won for the first time at the Etihad since 2015 last year. Do you know how many times Man City won at Anfield under Pep?
Oh, it had to be 3 or 4 times.
Once, Mahri. Once.
Once. Okay.
Once. And that was the season, if you remember, the COVID year when Van Dijk, when they had no defense. When Van Dijk got the ACL and they literally had like fucking youth team players in defense. Okay. So when I read about people being brave, about Arteta needing to win and all of this, okay then. So why didn't Klopp win at the Etihad? Was he not brave then? Why has Pep only won?
Well, then, like the fact you put 3 DMs in your start. Well,
we didn't have. No, I agreed with this. I agreed with the Anfield. We were unlucky. That should have been a draw. I would take the draw
at home against I'm like, wait, you're at home. I'm like,
no, it was at Anfield. They beat us at Anfield. Mark.
No, to a City. I'm talking about City game.
City? Did you see what City turned into? Did you watch the game? City played like Burnley for like 80 minutes. I've never seen a Pep Guardiola team literally we had 85% possession at one point.
Finally credit because he finally, the biggest criticism.
Mark, he made Diego Simeone at his worst look fucking adventurous in that game. And even Pep said it after the game that he didn't want Man City to play like this, that Arsenal forced them to play like that. Haaland was playing DM for most of the game, Mark. Do you not remember how defensive they were?
I remember. I was just like, this is not a traditional Pep type of game.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, I was like, they're literally, and then he put on, I remember in the last 10 minutes, I think he had like 5 center backs playing at the same time in the game.
15 minutes. We talked about the season so far. We talked about injuries.
Yeah, the keys of the game. Let's get back to the keys of the game for me. Arsenal needs to be clinical. I think Frank is going to come in. He's going to play super defensive. He's going to put everybody behind the ball. I think he's a very pragmatic coach. I think he's going to do a very similar style. I watched some of the Spurs podcasts and I read like, we should copy Sunderland, like their blueprint. And first of all, very few teams have the physicality Sunderland have. Yeah. Spurs definitely do not have the physicality Spurs Sunderland have.
Very physical.
Yeah, you do not. Arsenal are far bigger and more physical than Spurs.
We have Brendan Johnson, who is like Teflon. Xavi Simmons.
He's not going to play. I guarantee you he won't play Xavi Simmons in this game. He's going to play with Bergvall or Sarr. I'm going to go for Sarr. He's going to play He's going to play, in my opinion, the same plan that he did against Man.
Throughout. Clearly, the heavy favorite is Arsenal.
Mark, by the way, before you say, have you seen the betting odds? Wait, have you seen Vegas's odds? Have you seen them?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It's so so the odds for Arsenal from like different betting companies is like 1.3 to 1.35, 1.25. So like pathetic odds for an Arsenal win. Do you know what the odds are for a Spurs win?
0.0.
No. If you put $1, it's 8.5 to 9. So it's 1 to 8. Around 1 to 8 to 1 to 9. Yeah. Wow. So the Vegas really has no confidence.
So let me ask you a question, right? If Tottenham were to win, what would need to happen other than
it would need to be
other than the bus spikes and the bus rolling?
It would need to be exactly what happened 2 years ago when you drew 2-2 at the Emirates.
Yeah.
It would need to be Arsenal pull in, play one of their worst games of the season, and you play one of your best games of the season, which is exactly what happened, which was Arsenal played poorly in that game.
Let me give a scenario, because this is where I came up.
Well, we need to have, you guys need to score first. If Arsenal score first, Amari, it's over. Like, I know I'm being cocky, but our defense, the Sunderland one was, if you look at the Sunderland stats, the 2 goals, they were extremely fortunate. Like, they had only 2 shots on goal, which were both goals. The goal from the defender, Dan Ballard, a fucking center back scoring that goal on the half volley. You know this, Mari. 99% of the time, that's going out. That's going like.
And who has center backs that score? Mickey Van der Ven, Romero.
But Mari, he's playing against.
Yeah, and then, well, first of all, Gabriel is gone.
Yeah, but we have Saliba, Mosquera.
Yeah.
Mosquera is a monster too, man. Mosquera is a monster.
Yeah, but Gabriel, his intelligence.
Gabriel, the big miss and the big relief for you guys is that on corners, when we have corners, that's where he's amazing.
Yeah,
that's the big relief. But in terms of pure defense, if you ask me, for example, offensively, when we have the ball, if Hincapié or Mosquera play, we're going to be better, especially if Hincapié plays on that side. We're going to be way better on the ball. Yeah, we're going to be way better in possession. Hincapié is really good on the ball. He's really tidy.
So this is my theory was going before now Kyle Farrell was going to play. I thought Kyle Farrell was going to play, and I was
probably going to play.
That would be, and mind you, I think our phone line is shit, but that would be the weakness, because this is what me and Iggy feel that should happen. And let's see if Frank adjusts. Our best performances was closely resembling almost like a 3-5-2. This was against PSG before the season started. The Arsenal, that few game period. For me, I said the best way for us, right, I'm not saying successful, is to really play a 3-5-2 where we have Romero, Denzo, and Van der Ven, and then have Porro to get any form of creativity.
3 at the back. So you think he's gonna change the system?
I'm not saying he's going to do that. We're just saying that would be the best. It's just to have a Porro and Udogie. Be able.
I disagree with this, Mari. I disagree. Arsenal against 3 at the back.
Let me finish.
Yeah, go on.
To be able to bomb and have a 3-5-2. So in the sense of, because we know Arsenal's got possession, we're not got possession. It will be also helping the counter in regards to Mr. Tappan Johnson to play up front with either Richarlison or.
Mark, but just
Muriani play, have Muriani and
Moani's not gonna play, man. Just this is bullshit. This is from both camps where they're missing. You're not gonna play 2 weeks after you fractured your jaw.
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
If you to play, then you will have that along with.
Who's he gonna play with, Moani? Richarlison?
No, Brennan Johnson.
No, you can't. If you're gonna play with 3 at the back, that means you're gonna bypass the midfield. You're gonna play with long diagonal balls down the wing, right? So what's the point if you play with Brennan Johnson when he can't hold up the play? If I was you, I'd play with the 2. I would play with Moani and with Richarlison. At least Richarlison can, he does have a little bit of body strength. But I see this as you're really gonna concede possession. Then. Like you're gonna have 10% possession, Mari.
Yeah.
If you play with 2,
we won't have possession. The only 2 possible ways of us scoring is on the counter or on set pieces. That's the only.
But how are you gonna score against us on set pieces? We're big. We're way bigger than you. Like the Arsenal.
But our guys have a good knack of scoring on set pieces. As much as you talk about Romero does scores 4 or 5 goals each season, set pieces. Van der Ven has been Van der Ven's our leading scorer. He scores amazingly in the set pieces. And for me, I'm like, man, Gabriel not being there helps us. I'm not saying Mascara is not good, and
No, they're not. Nobody in Europe is even close to Gabriel when it comes to attacking, like set piece. Like nobody is. He is like in a league of his own in that. The only one that's come close, and he is already behind. Have you seen the stats? Van Dijk, who has like a 5-6 year jump on him based on playing in Champions League in the Prem, has scored 5 less goals than him from set pieces, and Gabriel has played far less. And Van Dijk is the second defender after. So he's a big miss. He's a big miss on set pieces. But the thing is, Calafiori is very dangerous also on set pieces. He wins headers. Saliba can score a few. Don't forget, if we play with Marino is great in the air. You know this.
This is my worry, and this is another key to the game. And me and Iggy, we've had the debates and arguments. Because he's Italian. Yes, he's a great shot stopper. But when it comes to command,
I told you about Vicario, Mahri.
No, you didn't have to tell me. I told you last season.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. You also changed your mind.
Because he's flappy. He has.
I mean, people say, people say he's improved. All right, Mark, just last game, people say he's improved. What the hell was he doing for the second goal against Man United? What was that?
And I had arguments with people. I'm telling them that you have experts on the Peacock coverage. The ex-US goalkeeper, what's his name? Tim Howard.
Tim Howard.
Like saying he could have done better there. I'm arguing with people in chat saying, "Oh, we don't listen to the competition." They played the fucking game. Former goalkeeper. Forget. So
for me to be this tall,
the way Arsenal crashed the box, and he is mentally has no command. Vicario, I would rather have what's Everton's
Kinski?
Everton. What's Everton's keeper name? Pickford. He has more command of the box on set pieces.
And he's small. And he's David Raya, for example. David Raya is really good in the air, but he's much shorter. Vicario has no excuse. He's tall.
In this game, where there will be corners conceded, there will be set pieces. He has to, some miracle chance, have a strong command in the box. Is a must.
No, but here's the thing, right? Has he improved? In my opinion, he hasn't. Teams to this day still target him. If you notice, and I guarantee you, the Arsenal set piece guys will have noticed. If you notice, most of the corners are far post corners, loopy to the far post, because they know that he's going to stay rooted to his spot the whole time, and he's not going to come forward most of the time, not all the time, because I have seen him come out.
But he comes forward,
there was a time.
Look at the Europa League final. Wait.
Oh yeah, he almost. If it wasn't for Van de Ven, again, he screwed up. Yeah. I don't rate him. I have never rated him, because for me, you cannot be a top player if you have. Every player has weaknesses. Some player. But he has a severe weakness, which teams literally, there was a point in time I remember, I think it was last year, I don't know, or the season before that, I think it was with Ange's first season, where teams literally targeted him on corners and set pieces.
Yeah.
So if teams have identified you as a major factor in terms of they can get an advantage or or score goals, I think that's for me. That's not a top goalkeeper.
There was a manager who said close to the end of the season, "This is how you attack Tottenham," and he was saying that about set pieces. Clearly, when the opposition was telling you, "Oh, this is how you."
No, and the other thing that he's, in my opinion, is greatly overrated by Spurs fans is his ability on the ball. It's really bad.
No. Who? Well, yeah,
it's not good. No, because they say he's got the most completed passes. That he's got more completed passes than David Raya. Really, you're gonna say he's better on the ball than Alisson or David Raya because he has more completed passes than him?
Because he has most attempts, you would have more passes if you have more attempts.
Yeah, I know. So some of these stats are just they're worthless stats that
they have to have context to these stats. Like like tackles, right? People say, well, they'll say Saliba doesn't have as many tackles. Well, because
he's always in the right. Van Dijk, if you look at Van Dijk's stats, he rarely tackles also, Van Dijk. Yeah, because because if you watch him and you scout him, you notice that Van Dijk and Saliba, they don't need to make tackles because they're always in the right place.
There has to be context.
Yeah, but and that's the thing for me. Your glaring weakness currently this season, if you ask me from an Arsenal perspective, I'm a big fan. I've always said he should be your captain, but Pedro Porro this year has been horrendous, and I'm intrigued to see.
He was. I'm talking about offense. I'm not talking about defense.
No, this season, last season he was good, but he was but he's been really poor
against United. Absolutely.
No, not only against United, man. I remember he was terrible against who was it? Monaco. He got that kid. What was it? Aliouche.
Yeah.
The Monaco guys. He was terrible against Monaco. He was terrible against Man United, especially he got subbed off against Man United, right? He was really bad. So I just think he's been defensively, especially he falls asleep a lot this season. He's never been very good defensively before, but this season he's particularly poor. I personally think the system, the sitting back and countering, I think that system just doesn't suit him because it highlights his defensive abilities more than it does going forward.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Now, Frank is supposedly and the assistant coach, what's the guy's name? The brother, the black guy. I forgot his name.
What's the guy he took from Brentford?
Yeah. Because they're supposedly the forward whisperer, right? And so
I fucking love these PR puff pieces that they always do in the English media.
So right now, last 2 or 3 games, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing something here. What do you think about Wilson Odobert?
I think he's done nothing at Spurs. I think he's been.
I'm talking about the last few games.
I think he had a very good half against Man United, but the reaction I read from, again, Spurs fans love to do this, where he has one good. He didn't even have a full good game. He had one half of a good game, which is his first good half in, I don't know, maybe a year. I thought he was good, but if you think Odobert is gonna do this to Jurrien Timber or to Ben White, okay. I mean, if you think that he's good enough to compete with those type of defenders, to compete against, who's the right back now? Liverpool's right back is shit. Bradley and Frimpong. Just if you think he can compete against Timber, just Timber, for me is easily the best right back in the league. I know I'm gonna say I'm an Arsenal bias, but for me, Timber has been our best player this year. Like, that's how good he's been. Not Gabriel, not Saliba. He's been our best player overall.
Both your backs have been Timber and
Calafiori going forward has been sensational. Timber is such a solid.
You really gave up goals, but it's actually your center backs have been more responsible than your backs.
Yeah, no. The fullbacks, Calafiori defensively has played extremely, extremely well this year. Defensively, he's been excellent. So, but Timber is a lockdown. Timber is the equivalent of in the NFL of a lockdown corner. Like, that's what I feel when Timber plays. Whoever winger, I have never seen Timber. I think I watched last season. We were away to Newcastle not this season, and he had a rough game against Newcastle. That was the only game that I can think of where Timber wasn't at least a 6 or a 7, where he doesn't make a mistake, where he's very solid, where the winger that he plays against is quiet. So Odobert for me is a talented player, but he wasn't. If you read about him, even Burnley fans were surprised because they're like, he wasn't even our most talented player, like talented winger.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think it's just a little bit like all of the Spurs players, Odobert. He's young. he's very unproven, and he's done nothing. It's the same with Bergvall. People rave about Bergvall. What the fuck does Bergvall do? I don't see it. I really don't see it.
I was on big up to Spurs King.
Like Sar, right? For example, Sar, I've told you this. I'm a big fan of Sar. Sar is one of the few Spurs players that I would take at Arsenal because I really like Sar. I think Sar, his engine is great. He's got physicality. And the thing I love about Sar is when you play a big game with him, he never shies away. He always puts his foot in, unlike Bentancur, who always hides in big games, always.
That's one of my only frustration.
So for me, I really like
Bergvall asked this question on Spurs King, and I got absolutely hammered, and I'm telling Sava, like, I don't see it because me, Sava, I think Stel, like, we asked this question, and I asked this question. I'm like, what does Bergvall do?
He just runs around.
Yeah,
he does.
Mind you, I think he is going to be a point in peace in regards to Sunday's game, in regards to the press. So I won't.
Mahri, he doesn't press well. He doesn't. Sar, for example, for all his, because I always read Spurs fan, he can't pass. He's not very technical. Yes, because that's not his play. Declan Rice isn't the most technical player in the world. He's not going to do step overs or do like a Andrea Pirlo. His long range passing is good, but it's not like Xabi Alonso or Andrea Pirlo. But Arteta puts him in a position where his best qualities, which are his defensive work, his interceptions, his shooting, everything.
I don't know what Bergvall's really good at. I asked that question.
But with Sar, it's the same thing. How do you expect Sar to be good when you play him as a number 10? That's not his position. He's not he's not a guy that's gonna, he doesn't have flair. He's not gonna go past the player or like do some sort of, chip or like do a really nice like sneaky pass. That's not his game. So why do you? And then when I see them criticize, and then Bergvall, who at the 6, if you play Bergvall at the 6, you're gonna get absolutely destroyed because Bergvall at the 6, first of all, he thinks he's Lionel Messi, where he holds onto the ball and tries to dribble out of his own. The amount of times I've seen Bergvall lose the ball in his own area because he's dribbling and then either get yellow carded or the other team has a massive chance where they score. Endless. He's very raw. Don't get me wrong. He has potential.
What is your predicted lineup? Because the midfield.
Predicted lineup for who? For Arsenal?
Yeah, because I saw on this.
Predicted lineup.
Zubimendi.
Yeah, I don't. No. No. Midfield guaranteed. Rice, Zubimendi,
and Eze.
Rice, Zubimendi, and then Eze. I think he's gonna play Eze. Eze in the 10. On the left wing, Trossard. On the right, Saka, and then in striker, we don't know. It could be Marino. It could be Gyökeres. Defensively, this is where the key is. See, I'm worried about Kudus. And I know Arteta. Arteta always goes game by game. And I wouldn't be surprised, Mahri, because of Hincapie's defensive ability. He's a monster defensively. I wouldn't be surprised because of his speed and his defensive ability. He plays Hincapie left back so he can deal with Kudus. And then he plays Mosquera or Calafiori at center back. But I'm going to go for Mosquera. He'll play, in my opinion, he'll probably play Calafiori and Mosquera. But I wouldn't be surprised if he plays Hincapie just because defensively Hincapie, I've watched him, Mahri. Like I already love him. Like he's physical. He's a much more controlled version of Romero. He's the same as very physical, gets really stuck in.
He's a son of a bitch. He's an SOB.
Yeah. He's a typical South American style, like every stereotype of a South American defender.
When Argentina plays against
Ecuador, I actually watched that game.
Yeah.
He was amazing. He was great in that game. He was awesome.
Yes. That's why I said there are players that I wanted. I'll tell you the players that I wanted. I wanted Hincapie. I wanted Eze, but we know what happened there. I wanted I wanted Richard Rios. I want more SOBs who play good on the ball. Like I wanted Rios. I wanted for creativity. I wanted Armada. I wanted he went to Atletico. He's doing well there.
He's on
And
the
then
bench. He's on the bench though, Mari.
he starts sometimes and he's on the bench. And then for
He's
Argentina,
small, huh? Almada, I watched. He came on against. He's very small. No, he's not
yeah,
for the fun, man.
he's like David Silva. He's very tough for his size. And David Silva, of course, he had a great career with City, and so he's very smart how he uses his body. And I was actually worried that City was going to sign him, but City didn't want to sign him, and so they changed their mind on signing him, and then because they were also looking at Barco, who's with Brighton right now, but
Who's
I think
been a complete flop? Let's be honest. He
yeah,
went to Sevilla. I read that Sevilla. He's barely played at Sevilla.
yeah, I think what may have happened. It's the same thing that happened to Endrick. There's some South American players that leave a little bit too early.
No,
And,
Mark. Endrick is gonna go. He's gonna do
Endrick needs
the
to go
same thing as no. Endrick is gonna be exactly like Casemiro. And
Yeah.
Casemiro came to Real Madrid too early. They
to
sent him out on loan for a year to Porto. Did really well. Endrick is gonna do really well at Lyon,
there's some
and
players.
then he's gonna come back, and then
Yeah.
he's gonna come back and kill it.
There's
He's a
some
top
players.
player.
Not all South American players. There's some South American players. It depends where they go. Because Endrick, you're not going to get playing time. You need playing time. And number two, you need to go to a situation. If you're going to leave too early, you have to go to a
No,
situation.
but Mari thinks like they said the same thing about Arda. Remember last season they kept saying Arda isn't playing. They might sell him, this and that. Well, look,
Arda needs to go to another team. If Arda goes to any other team in the Premier League,
but look at him now. Arda is one of the first names on the team sheet now. He's playing almost every game. So Endrick he's young, he's super young. He came to, there's a lot of youngsters, Odegaard was supposed to be
I
a
like
flop.
what they do with Estevado, who I rate better than Endrick.
I've watched Endrick, man. He came on against Arsenal in Madrid, and you could see, man. You could see like once he gets you can see once he gets things, once he figures things out.
Yeah,
Endrick for me is a future, top number 9. Like he needs to build up a little bit. He already has physicality, but he needs to build it up. And just once he figures things out, maybe learns how to be a professional and stuff like that. So for me, I'm really high on him. Him and the Argentinian kid is also really good. Yeah, he's really good. But he's another one that you can tell needs to hit the gym a little bit. Needs to get a little bit stronger, and then he'll be really good.
He has that 18-year-old body and stuff like that, but he's going.
But then again, Mari, sometimes
he's definitely going to be better than Lautaro Martinez. He's going to eventually be better.
Lautaro's really good, man. Lautaro, I mean, that's a big prediction. But I mean, judging from the potential, because
I know we're a tangent. I think the one that, and I've never rated, and I know you said I have homerism, but Garnacho, like I question if he's
Headless has one good game, then has 4 or 5 shit games. Yeah, has one game. No, the thing with Garnacho is
for the Italy.
he either plays really, really well and is amazing, and you think, wow, this is a top winger.
He needs to go to Como and let Cesc work with him.
He needs to. No, I think Chelsea maybe was. I think he needed to go to Atletico. I think Atletico would have been a good place for him. Somewhere where he has an Argentine coach that understands the culture, the kind of the
like a coach like Cesc Fabregas could teach him. Like he needs teaching.
I mean, if you look at any Premier League player that goes to Italy, man, they kill it there. Like Lukaku went to Napoli.
Did you see that goal for Scott?
McSauce, man. He's been ridiculous. He's been ridiculous.
I'm like, Mataname actually looks technical. I couldn't believe it.
Mahri, he won the Serie A Player of the Year.
Yeah. I'm like
he won them. He won them. He scored all of his goals were like big time clutch goals that won them the league. Like he won. He pretty much won them. If you look at the goals he scored in the teams, he scored it, and he won them the most important games. So no, it's just it takes it. You know, the Premier League is a different. I know people don't like to hear it, but it's the truth. The Premier League is far more physical than any other league. Far more physical, and you know, players like Florian Wirtz, for example, go watch his highlights or go watch him for Bayer Leverkusen. He was running through midfield. He was, you know, opening up space. Come to the Prem. You're not going to do this. They're bigger than you. They're going to kick the shit out of you. They're going to play defensive. They're going to physically, you know, this is not, you're not going to get this.
I'm going to go to predictions because we have to end soon.
Yeah, let's go. Let's end.
One player, I will quickly say I was disappointed because I think he went to the wrong team. But I really liked him in the Bundesliga. Sabitzer.
Again, Sabitzer? I mean, he's in Borussia. He's doing well in Borussia, so he's fine.
I think he, you know.
I think he's the typical RB Leipzig, Red Bull type player where he's just an energetic midfielder that can score a goal. Like he's nothing special, or he's just a good. He's just a very.
You know, I wanted Tottenham to have for the longest. I know he was injury prone, but he's one of my favorite players. I'm not saying best players, but in my top 20 favorite players, I love to see play. He plays in MLS. Marco Reus. Marco Reus.
Yeah, he was great, but he was always injured.
Every day I would pray, I'm like, oh, if we could get a midfielder like Marco Reus.
No, the player that I always thought when I looked at him, like Eze, for example, I always talk to, like, I have a friend from high school who, like, he's a big Villa fan, but he's like, certain players gives you, like, for example, Eze is the typical Arsenal. Like, if you ask me what's the typical Arsenal player from like the Wenger era, Eze. Like Eze for me is like perfectly suited for Arsenal.
For me,
the player that I loved before and that I always thought was just perfect, like Wenger would 100% sign him, was Jack Grealish from Villa. Jack Grealish was just so Arsenal. The way he played, the way this technical ability, like what Wenger 100% would have signed him.
I wanted Grealish. There was the rumor, but it was a rumor over the summer. I was wanting Grealish. I think creativity. Anybody that could at least try to take on their man. I wanted that Spurs. So let's go to predictions. I love how sometimes we go off for the tangent. My prediction of 1-1 was thinking that Calafiori wasn't going to play.
But wait, Mahri, you do realize that if Calafiori doesn't play, we've got Lewis Skelly, Hincapié. Like, we're fine even without Calafiori.
Yeah. I really think he's been that good. And my computer is going to die. Quick
before it dies, then we'll go. We'll fuck off.
Well, give your prediction. I'll hear it.
Prediction for me tomorrow is a very controlled 2-0 win to Arsenal. I just don't see you guys scoring. I think your record at the Emirates has been horrendous. And I just think Arsenal will have too much for you. Yeah. But that's my honest take on the matter. I just don't see any way you guys, beating us. I just see a 2-0 win. And I think if Arsenal score first, I just think, I think it's over.
Yeah. We have to score first to get a result. If you guys score first, that's gonna be tough.
But to take into account, Mahri, I don't think it'll be a big scoring game because Arsenal have Bayern Munich on Wednesday, and then they have Chelsea. So I'm gonna go for Arsenal. If they score first, they're gonna close the game up.
Yeah.
Play very kind of controlled, slow the game down, and just kind of kill it.
I have a little prediction about the Munich game, but let me go back to this game.
Are they going to beat us, Mahri?
No. With Luis Diaz being gone now.
Oh, don't give me that. They have Gnabry.
Let me go back to the prediction.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stick my 1-1 prediction. I think the game, it has to be ugly. You guys are going to have possession. That is easy. Yeah, we
You guys,
will.
you guys, I'm expecting you guys to play like you did in the Europa League. Slow down the game,
Yeah,
lie down a lot from fouls, just completely just try and ice the
yeah.
whole game from the
I
start.
think I think our best chance is going to either have to come from a counter or a set piece goal. I know you guys are defensively good. We're actually good at set pieces. I think that's the only way we're going to score. I think.
Funnily enough, Mari, we're actually defensively set pieces this season. That's the majority of our goals conceded. We haven't conceded any
Yeah,
goals.
yeah, Sunderland. Yeah, I know.
We haven't conceded any goals from transition whatsoever. Like just defending counterattacks, we're great. And we've conceded 2 goals in the whole on all competitions in open play. The other 3 goals that we have conceded, because we've conceded 5 overall, because we haven't conceded any in the Champions League or in the League Cup.
Yeah.
The 5 goals, 3 of them are from set pieces. No, sorry, 4 of them, because Szoboszlai was a free kick, the wonder free kick.
Yeah,
And one of them was the final Sunderland goal, was I mean, you can call it open play. He just booted it up forward and they just scored.
I think it's gonna be 1-1. A goal by Trossard. Trossard will be the one to score against us, and I think Mickey Van den Ven off a corner, 1-1. Will come out there with a point.
Aren't you worried, Mari, that Chelsea? You made Chelsea look like Pep's Barcelona that game. Arsenal are better than Chelsea.
I will say this. I will say this. For me, if you know me, I don't care if I do care if we lose, but if we lose, we have to fight. That's any sport. You have to show some fight.
Yeah.
Especially against your rivals. That's what made me so livid.
No, but Mark, I actually think it's perfect. It's perfect for you guys. It's perfect for you guys. You have no expectations. If you look at the odds, the fans don't expect anything.
I want us to fight, Stefan.
But you have two. Basically, this is where you play the best, where you have no expectations, where all the pressure is on. Because let's be honest, your next 2 games, everybody is expecting you guys to lose. PSG in Paris, Jesus Christ, that's gonna be rough. Yeah, that's gonna be, because it's gonna be extra rough because Dembele, I'm reading, is back, so he's gonna play.
And then they remember the Super Cup, the
Super Cup. They weren't. You could tell they hadn't had preseason. They were tired. They weren't fit. But this is gonna be a PSG that has had fitness, and it's in Paris where the pitch is big. Like it's intense there. The fans are really intense in Paris. I think you're really, if you got absolutely diced by Monaco. PSG are way better than Monaco.
Yeah.
So I just think the next 2 games is the perfect kind of no pressure type games where you can play your best. You can just say we're gonna try our best.
Yeah. And
we're probably gonna lose, but no big deal because everybody expects us to lose.
I one thing I put on Frank, because I'm gonna be consistent, because I bash Angel that the team has to come with a fight, especially against your rivals. There's just no excuse about it. That if they have that same Chelsea mentality, that same game, going against your rivals on the road, man, I'm dropping F-bombs on the.
You have the players like Paulinho is perfectly set up to do this, not have the ball and defend. That's his strongest point.
Yeah.
The issue is I'm really intrigued how Frank is going to play. Is he going to play like he did against Chelsea, where he tries to play out the back, or is he going to play like he did against Man City, where he basically bypassed the midfield and played long balls and diagonals into the corners?
Yeah, and this is where, and I know, and I want to end the show soon, where having Romero back is key, because and you know
1-0 Nottingham Forest.
Oh yeah, Romero is one of the best passing, ping the ball center backs. But strange enough, the progressive passing that comes from back, and remember, Spurs are dead last with 4. Dead last. who's produced most of those? Romero. So if anything's coming from the
But he
back,
also Mari, but in trying to progress the ball, he makes numerous mistakes where he tries to progress the ball, he loses it, he's out of position, and then the counter attack happens and they score.
yeah.
So
Well,
let's see.
technically, I must say, technically in the EPL, Romero's on 0 for goals to errors. Strange enough, Van de Ven has that. The thing is, I will say, when he advances forward with the ball, watch Argentina. Who goes behind him? Rodrigo. Rodrigo protects Romero. Because remember that dog cat analogy I did years ago, and this is actually a chart. Romero's aggressive, while and VDV is the perfect partner for him because he plays back.
VDV
Yeah.
is, if you don't do well this season, Mari, and I've said this from last year,
Oh,
if you don't do well this season,
Real Madrid
VDV is gone, man. VDV for me is perfect for Bayern Munich, who need defenders, and for Liverpool. If Konate leaves, I would not be surprised. Van de Ven is perfect for Slot's system. Perfect.
Yeah.
He's exactly what Slot needs with his suicidal attacking, like super high line, and he's Dutch. You cannot ask for a better fit in terms of Liverpool So I can see two massive teams moving for him that have the money. Bayern Munich will pay big money if they, them. If they feel the player is right, they will fork out the money. And Bayern Munich are in desperate need for defenders. I would not be surprised if they sign. I think it's going to be a domino. I think one of them is going to sign Guehi, and whoever doesn't sign Guehi, and if you guys do shit, if you qualify for, like, I predict you'll be 7th this year. That was my prediction at the start. If you go to Conference League and then Bayern Munich or Liverpool come in, I mean, he'll probably leave.
Yeah. So predictions 1-1 draw and 2-1. We will see what will happen.
2-0 Forest.
Who are they playing?
Liverpool at Anfield.
Whoa!
Wait, it could be Ham. Okay, Mari, let's go. I'm predicting 2-0. You're predicting 1-1. You're delusional, Mari. We should kick your ass. You know this. We're gonna kick your ass.
Forest has been Liverpool. What? Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. No, it is a delusional pick. More of the heart than the head. More of the heart than the head. But and I also just want to see you guys sweat, because if City wins and you guys drop points.
Mari, it's a long
Bottle
season.
job incoming. Bottle job. Oh man, but
it's a long season, man. It's a long season. Don't worry. Worry about you guys getting Europe, because if you don't, Van de Ven is gone, man, and then you're screwed. If Van de Ven leaves, I think he's easily your best player. He's not even close in terms of players.
Player of the year, I would say.
Forget player of the year. Who, if I'm a big club, tell me what you're asking as an Arsenal fan, because we're currently competing with Man City. I wouldn't be. You know what, Mari? Man City's defense is aging. I wouldn't be surprised if Man City also move for him, because he's a Pep type defender.
I've heard Real Madrid is
Real Madrid also. I mean, you're literally the worst time for you guys is now, because literally all these teams that we named, Man City have an aging defense. John Stones is getting old. Ruben Diaz is getting old. The defenders that they bought, the Uzbeki guy hasn't hit it off. The Brazilian that they bought, Vitor Rice, he sent him out on loan twice now. So that tells me he's not very good. So let's see. But I'm really excited for the game. I'm gutted that we don't have everybody fit. I would have preferred you guys have Madison, Kulu. We have Odegaard, everybody fully fit and firing, so we can see where we are. But injuries is the natural part
of the game. Well, it's glad.
Thanks for the show, Mahri.
Glad to have you back. And guys, like I said, I'm gonna have 2 shows going forward. Mahri's Corner, which is gonna talk about Spurs. I'm gonna have some guests from other content creators along with our boys on the show, and then I got to talk about what's going on in the Premier League There's gonna be a new show called EPL Corner. Stefan will be on there. We'll be looking at what's going on with some others. What's going on in the EPL weekly, week in and week out. Some of the shows may be live, some may be recorded, but yeah, tomorrow is going to be crazy. And come on, you Spurs!